Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Peteman Reviews. Today we have the Autobot Micromaster Race Car Patrol. However, before we get started, I want to give a shout out to another YouTube channel, Transformers and Beer. As the name implies, they review both Transformers and beer, and they have a hot podcast every Friday where they check out some new beers and check out some new Transformers and play games such as Guess the Transformer from the description. Pretty good channel. It's worth catching, and as I say, you've got a nice variation there of not just one thing, the Transformers or beer, but a nice mix of the two, and they have some fun, so worth checking out, and that's Transformers and beer. Okay, so on to this episode. So we have here, say, the Autobot Race Car Patrol, probably one of the best known Micromaster patrols, as they got a lot of, not really screen time, but a lot of comic time. They were one of the first introductions for the Micromasters, and certainly the ones that the US G1 comics focused on the most, with a specific storyline, particularly for Road Handler here, who was turned into basically a WWF wrestler. Should be WWE now, but of course back then it would have been WWF. Bit bizarre. It was Bob Budiansky's final few comics, and I think by that point, I don't necessarily think he got fed up with Transformers. I think he got fed up with the fact that he was constantly being given so many new characters to introduce and no time to develop them. So, for me, those stories were not particularly good. But, on the other hand, I'm in the UK. WWF was never something that I was that interested in. So maybe I just didn't get the market. Maybe it was a bigger hit in America, I don't know. Afterwards, Simon Furman took over, who came from Marvel UK to Marvel US. And for me personally, the comic style improved massively just because Furman is particularly good at writing for Transformers. That's not to denigrate what Bob Budiansky had done, but Simon Furman, I think, just gave it a bit more of an epic scale. So, on to our guys. So we've got Freewheeler here in yellow, we've got Swindler in the grey, Road Handler, who we've previously noted, in the red, and finally Tailspin in the blue. In terms of race cars, well, they do bear a slight resemblance to race cars. He's obviously a Lamborghini Diablo. I don't really know what he's meant to be. Porsche, maybe? I don't know. Actually, it looks a little bit like Kit from Knight Rider, so maybe what was Kit? A Corvette? But then again, he's a Corvette, so I don't know what car Kit was, but that looks a bit like him. And he's obviously a Le Mans car. I think it's just a generic Le Mans car rather than a specific one. Transformation-wise, they're all fairly similar and all fairly basic, but then again, they're Micromasters. So you just take the guys, back flips like that. Front on this one flips like that, and there we go. He's got some nice detailing. If we could just focus, there we are. Got some nice detailing, particularly with the colours side up, and I do quite like these little pointy bits there. Again, just gives some little extra bit of details there. Road Handler, the nominal leader and the guy with the most time, exactly the same transformation. That flips like that, down like that. Again, a fairly nice bit of detailing too. Swindler's a bit different in transformation. You've still got this, the rear part here, which just flips like that. However, this time the front goes down rather than up. And he's got some huge shoulders, but otherwise it's much of the same. And the final guy here, exactly the same. That goes down like that. This goes up. He's a little bit more disjointed than the others because he's got such a huge sticky out part for his legs. It's not really a word, is it? So he's a little bit disjointed compared to the others. As you can see, he's tends to fall over a little bit more because of the centre of balance, so you kind of have to lean him forward. And there we are, the Micromaster Autobot Race Car Patrol. Very simple transformations, but you'd expect that for a Micromaster. And as you can see, they are good details. They are all dissimilar enough to be individuals, and indeed they actually are some of the very few Micromasters that got any character development. Though most Micromasters all share a similar trait, which is they hate the bigger Transformers. Really? Every single one? Maybe Fix It didn't, but that seemed to have been their generic trait that they were all given. In terms of size, we'll compare them against a modern Transformer. So this is Titan's Return Blur. They scale very, very well. Obviously, I doubt this was intentional, given the, 20? No, near 30 year, not quite 30 years, but near 30 year release differences. Micromasters, I think, were around 1988, maybe even 89 release, whereas Titan's Return Blur is 2016. So, yeah, it's not that far off a 30 year difference. Wow, that makes you feel old. But regardless, they scale very, very well. The headmasters. Blur is a headmaster because he's Titan's Return. The Micromasters, as well, I was saying, were always meant to be up to about the size of the knees of the larger Transformers, and actually, they just about are. So they scale absolutely perfectly. Better than I'd expected, actually, before making this video. They are a little bit pricey on eBay. I don't really know why, considering how basic they are, but actually, Micromaster seems to be quite big sellers, so if you can get hold of some, even whole squads obviously sell more than individual characters, but individual characters generally sell quite well too, as lots of people usually have 3 out of 4 and they're desperate to get that other one, and you could spend £4 or £5 per member if you get them individually. Sometimes you can get them cheaper in a job lot, but personally I wouldn't spend £3 or £4 per one, but it depends how desperately you want to complete your collection. So anyway, we'll just take Blur away. That is the Micromaster Autobot Race Car Patrol. Thank you very much for watching. Please click and subscribe, leave some comments, like the video, and we'll see you for the next episode. Thank you. Goodbye.